Welcome to the Premier Coin Report, your weekly numismatic update. I am joined as always by, well, not as always, we only have two coin dealers from across the country today. Alex from Washington and Jeff from Florida. I'm here as well, Isaac from PRC. Welcome to the show, everybody.
What up, boys?
Our fifth favorite bestie.
That's
favorite
right.
bestie. Now,
the crew is back.
Excited to have Alex here today. He's running a couple of live shows at his coin shop right now, so you may hear that in the background. But we open every episode with a little game I like to call Guess That Guide.
Let's go.
I'm gonna do I'm gonna get some sort of fun intro for that at some point with like a.
Well, I was
a
studying the Red
audience
Book
or
today,
something.
so you guys are in trouble.
I'm ready for it. This may hit a little close to home. This wasn't really on purpose, picking this coin, but it kind of works out.
Ooh.
We're looking at a 1850 $5 Mormon gold coin. Doing a little bit of digging on these. We don't really know how many were made. We don't really know what gold they were made out of. It's marked. These letters up at the top is Great Salt Lake City pure gold. That's what the inscription says.
Love it.
But we think that the gold that was used here wasn't actually mined in Utah. We think it was California gold, which is interesting. In grade, there are 37 total in NGC, 88 total in PCGS, with about 18 in the same grade at AU55.
Love it.
About 19 graded higher. It did sell the auction record for $129,250 in MS62 in 2015 by Heritage Auctions. This is just a great coin. This is a great territorial piece.
I love this coin.
Jeff,
love this coin.
what did you have to say about it?
No, I absolutely love and adore the territorials. I mean, the Oregon Trail was a game that I played growing up through elementary school. It was like the only thing you could actually play on like school computers. So
I remember.
People don't realize that, back in the day, people would get on a 3-month journey boat ride, usually that led to Canada and then to New York to immigrate here. And then they'd make that long journey all the way from the East Coast all the way over to the West Coast. Amongst that adventure, people would have to make trade while they were going through the country in the cities and states that those countries came from. I don't know about the gold compounds and Salt Lake City, but obviously in all the surrounding places around there, they had gold. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Utah had some gold deposits somewhere. I don't really have the education on that. But what's crazy is pretty much this was the Mormons that would have, either melted down or refined the gold dust that they had and turned into their own money to help make trade more fair as people came through the town. I've actually, sold a couple Mormons a long time ago, some high-end ones, to the Mormon church. So a lot of them, buy it up. This is a religious artifact for them. This is made by the church and its people to make, fair trade with other people that came through the town. So as they're the least visually appealing coins, they are some of the rarest territorials on the planet. Well, in the United States, that's it.
These are awesome. You when you start digging into the history of the Church of Latter-day Saints and sort of how they pretty much built Utah from the ground up by themselves, it makes sense that they're making their own gold coins at that time because there wasn't a facility there. Alex, what are your thoughts on this coin?
Well, I got to chime in. I didn't know a ton on on Mormons in the Utah territory until I watched a series on Netflix, American Primeval. It kind of gives you the feel of the Utah territory at that time and the coinage. Doesn't get talked about a lot, but just basically that Utah territory coming to age. And you can really kind of imagine owning this material then. It's quite fascinating. If you ever get a chance to watch that, I recommend it. American Primeval. But I actually was just looking at a Mormon 5 yesterday. So I'm hoping I get this correct.
Yeah, so what are you thinking at AU55? What do you think the PCGS price guide is?
That's what we're going PCGS on. Price guide, 80 grand.
80 grand is his guess. 80 grand. I will say, solid guess. Jeff, what are you thinking?
I mean, this is a very weird piece. For a $5, I'm probably gonna go like 150.
150 grand.
Which
All right.
I don't know if it's true, but I did GPT it. So after the discovery of gold at Shutter's Mill in 1848, many Mormon men had been in California on a church assignment as part of the Mormon battalion collecting gold dust and nuggets. Much of the gold came from the American River region, which is modern-day Sacramento.
Very interesting. So yeah, this sort of corroborating the idea that the gold wouldn't have been mined in Utah, that they sent other people out to go explore. That's very cool.
Which is very different, by the way, than the Pikes Peak territorials, because those would have been gold that was mined inside of Colorado and turned into. So, interesting.
Right. Yeah. So, in terms of who won there, Alex was closest without going over. It's listed at 110,000 in AU 55 for the PCGS price guide. So not a bad guess either way.
Yeah, we're both 30
pretty
away.
much equally far away.
I looked at one yesterday that was in an AU. I think it might have been an AU 50, and that was listed about what I quoted.
Okay. So maybe this is a little unfair because you were literally looking at one yesterday. But,
well, I still didn't guess it on, so I guess meh. Snooze, I lose.
You're undervaluing yourself. You're undervaluing yourself. All right. Let's move on to the roller coaster that is the metals market. It has been a wild couple weeks. We've got potential deals coming out with China again. We've got the Fed dropping rates. Our peak of gold was 438, I think, right around here at the peak. And since then, we did drop below 4,000 earlier this week on the 25th. And it's kind of been bouncing back and forth over the past couple days, above and below 3,000. It seems like people are playing the markets pretty hard, but in terms of gold, we're at 4,023. Silver's at 48.87. And what's interesting about this is, despite the massive growth in gold and then massive growth in silver and subsequent drop, silver's actually up at a higher percentage than gold is for the year. I think gold's up like 40% and silver's up like 60% for the total year. So still super strong returns. But how is this reflecting on your side of things?
Rapidly, boy. I tell you what, it's a lot of people are diving back in the market, seeing it dip back and pull back a little bit. Which is nice. We've been able to still sell some over the counter. Online sales for stuff have been a little bit back. I think people more or less are just not sure what to do. But I mean, for me, I'm trading it every single day. You know, I buy it to sell it, and turn it. You know, it is hard right now because you see such large drops. I mean, pretty much a week ago, it was 10% higher. And, and we can't buy it from customers that far back. So we did take a little bit of loss on some product, but that's an inherent risk, I believe, in working in this market. But it is active. People are still buying it, which is great to see. And I still believe that it still has a good amount of room to go. I mean, it's crazy to see just the percentages on silver being higher gains than gold has this year, just because of the sheer numbers. But that being said, I still believe silver can still grow. I mean, it's crazy to say this maybe, but even double where it's at, who knows? And imagine taking profits at that price. I know manufacturers have slowed in buying it, like the smelters and stuff, especially on like the non-pure metals. So maybe that's held some things back a little bit, but I still expect great returns for anybody getting in the market now and obviously prior. So
yeah, and are you mostly your clients? Are you selling a lot to people who are investing in this kind of stuff? Do you have a mix of collectors and investors, or like?
Well, I would say people walking into the shop are definitely more your stacker type of collector. They really want to just invest in the the simplistic value in gold and silver. You know, they don't need their specialty pieces, their graded units. Don't get me wrong, there is room for that, you know, after somebody's maybe collected or stacked a little bit. You know, it's nice to diversify it and give you some different, likable product, I'll call it. But, we do have a steady stream of, as well, of some more collectors as well, collector type of material. Like yesterday, we sold a 1 ounce Foster's silver bar, which is a really rare piece coming out of Washington State at Walla Walla. So, there's still definitely some mixture of both markets, premium material and also just your regular stackable material.
Gotcha. And Jeff, we're more on the modern, more on the collectible side of things. Obviously, the spot price of gold and silver doesn't affect a high-end piece, but have you noticed that this sort of buzz that's been around the large growth over the last couple of weeks, have you noticed more interest in the higher-end type of products, or has it been kind of the same?
I mean, honestly, the people that buy higher end products and stuff like that, I don't think they're chart people. They really don't wake up and look at, where the stocks are, where the charts are, where the futures are. These aren't your everyday people that walk into coin shops. These are more or less people that are just waiting for a coin, been looking for a coin. I mean, we were sourcing, what was it? I think it was an 1852 proof $3 gold coin for like 60 grand the other day. That coin could care less if gold went to zero tomorrow.
Right.
So, when it comes to stuff like that, these people really don't care. I mean, honestly, what we're seeing a lot happening, a little anecdotal, but for us at least, a lot of people are trying to trade in their gold and silver to buy higher end pieces. So, we have a deal we're doing right now for a $40,000 piece. And the person is sending in 6 gold coins and a handful of 100 ounce silver bars. So we are seeing quite a few people, with everything being so high, looking to liquidate that instead of any other means of cash or money to purchase items, which is always good. We always like to see. But other than that, nothing really too crazy on our end. It's great to see gold holding at $4,000. I was kind of shitting bricks a little bit. I thought when gold dropped below 4K, we'd see 3,500 again. So I mean, I'm still kind of, keeping my fingers crossed. If I'm not mistaken, on Monday or Tuesday, I cried to Isaac about packing up all the gold and running down the street to the smelter. We have brass cajonas, so we're holding it for Baltimore. So for those of you that are out there, pray gold stays up for another week.
What's happening in Baltimore?
We're going to the coin show, bud. Yeah, next week we're gonna have all the besties in one spot.
Heck yeah. Live podcast episode.
No, it's going to be great.
It'll be our first time doing it together. I was like, Isaac, does it go from a podcast to a conference now? Like, what is this? We're going to a coin show conference.
Cool.
Maybe. We might have to buy some extra mics. But I think, before we move on, I want to touch on something, because I think that's interesting. People trading in the precious metals, the stuff that's close to spot, trading that in for a higher value numismatic piece. Now, obviously, I'm not an investment specialist. I'm not a financial advisor by any means, but it makes a lot of logical sense to see a lot of volatility in the market and then look at the price of rare numismatics, which have been kind of unwieldingly consistent over the last 10 years. There's some outliers. There's some coins that have dropped in value. But for the most part, the very important historical pieces, sort of like Jeff said, they could care less if gold or silver goes down. And I don't know. That's an interesting thing. As I learn more about economics and more about finance, I'm building out more and more theories about how the relationship between gold and the numismatics kind of mix. So as you guys continue watching the podcast, you'll hopefully see me progress more in that way.
If I had to give a brief explanation, I would just say, think of precious metals being like the Mag 7. and think of like rare coins being like an ETF. You know, in my opinion, high-end rare coins, there really hasn't been a period that the Red Book has been distributed in the last 60 years where, you know, your top 10% of collectible coins have gone down in value. I mean, I'd be interested if some of our followers could find us a top 10% coin in any, you know, collectible era of coins, no matter what that may be, that hasn't really gone up in value over time. So they're more like a stable, you know, most people will do that eventually, where they'll collect all the common stuff of one year, and they'll kind of turn their commons in to upgrade to a bigger piece and then kind of restart the cycle. So, you know, you kind of, you know, you buy your Mag 7, right? You buy all those, and then when you see that return you were hoping for, you kind of sell off your profits a little bit and turn them into something a little bit, you know, something that you like, a little bit safer, you know, et cetera. Because, you know, the last 3 times silver hit $50, within like 18 months, it was down under 10. So, I mean, I'm sure some of the older crowd here that was buying in the 80s are kind of having deja vu. Just like in the market, they're having, you know, .com bubble right now with all the quantum computing and chip stuff. So, I mean, you know, I like to correlate the two a little bit.
I think that's right
That's
on.
kind of how I see it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm right on with Jeff. I mean, people they're taking advantage of maybe a little bit more higher market that they've been waiting for, diversifying into something maybe a little more collectible and safer with, you know, less inherent risk. So, I mean, it's a great time to do that. We've seen that with old pre-33 gold. I've had, I mean, a dozen customers turn over their more like basic bullion over into maybe something that's a little bit more like a softer numismatic, but still an investable gold. Even other pieces as well, like you know, like the Mormon I was looking at. One of my customers actually has a large amount of gold that wants to trade over to something a little more sexier, I'll call it, that's safer right now. And it hasn't changed with the gold prices, so it's a perfect time, you know, for somebody that is maybe looking to do that, you know, turn over their more common like gold that they can maximize some profit and trading over into something that's sustainable and then also has a great upside to it, you know, I mean, such as the Mormon. So.
It's like getting a discount. Like, think about it. Your client that's going to buy that Mormon from you for $100K is probably thinking in their mind, wow, gold last year was $2,400. I'm getting a 40% discount on this coin. It's only costing me $60K instead of $100. So, you know, realistically, you know, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's an avenue I've thought about quite a bit. I think there's definitely something to say to the, like, if you, let's just say, for example, you take a Whitman binder of Franklin $half. You start from scratch and you just go buy those, 60 Franklin $half. By the time you've purchased those 60 Franklin $half, you at the very least have the intrinsic value of those Franklin $half that you could study up a little bit, find a coin that you want that is worth about the same amount as that Franklin $half set. Go sell that. Most of the time, those sets sell for more just because they're together anyway. It's like a good 20 to 25%. I was looking into it on eBay the other week. Completed sets do sell for more than the face value or the intrinsic spot value of the coins inside them. You take that money and go get a cool numismatic coin, and then you just get started on the next set, or you start, you know, flipping that coin. Like there's a lot of different ways to keep the party going. But I also wanted to touch on one other thing. Just if you're curious as to why people trust coins, trust gold, and trust silver, take $50 out of your budget for 1 month, buy an ounce of silver, and watch what happens to the value of that silver compared to the money that you spent on it. The money that you spent on it over the $50 that you spent, if you kept that in cash form over time in the past 15 years, that $50 was worth less.
Well, it's still worth $50, but you can buy less with it.
Just watch what happens to the value. Sure. Anyway, let's go ahead and scoot on down to some coin shows. We've got some coin shows coming up. One will be at the Baltimore show coming up in a week. Should be a good time. But
Last
as
coin
It's
show
gonna
of the
be
year
great.
for us.
It's going to be a good show. If anybody can make it there, you should. There's going to be great material.
Super cheap to get to as well. You know, DC being an hour outside, you know, it's pretty cheap to get to DC for at least from
Yeah.
Palm Beach. It is. So
there it is right here.
are we gonna be riding
Next
scooters
one. That's
around
big
the
one.
Lincoln
Well,
Memorial,
I don't
Alex?
know about Lincoln Memorial. Are we going to get to DC?
I don't know. It's only like 45
Yeah, we
minutes
can take
outside of the
the,
show.
we can take the train. I took that a couple times ago. It's pretty quick.
Very nice.
Cool. Looks like there is an Atlanta coin show in Marietta. Oh, guess
I
it's
want to
not
make it to
Atlanta,
the
it's in
Hollywood
Marietta.
Coin Show. That's where my grandfather lives.
Is that the one in
In
Hollywood, Florida?
Yeah, I was there last week or 2 weeks ago.
Really small.
It's really small, but there's a lot of people there. Like the building is tiny. I think that they were in a different building this time, so it might have been a different experience. But it was pretty packed. There was maybe
I'll have
20
to
dealers.
put that on my schedule one of these times.
It was fun. I got an interview. This may be a good time to plug the interview. Did an interview with a guy. We talked about how Pokemon cards suck compared to coins. He was a first time dealer, so I always like whenever I find a first time dealer, it's a unique thing for it to be your first time setting up at a coin show. So
But you mentioned it was a very busy show.
it seemed busy. There was a lot of people there. There was lots of deals going on. It was just the amount of tables that were actually set up.
That's good news because I've heard from the last couple coin shows. So we were just in Las Vegas 2 weeks ago. It was fabulous. It was super busy. There was a lot of collectors. There was a lot of resellers. And I mean, it was active. It was really active. And the one prior from me was another local show up here in Seattle. And so it seems like, I mean, kind of like I was saying before with online trading and buying and selling is active. I mean, it's good to hear even South Florida is the same way. So it's popping and we're excited. I'm excited to be in this business. I'll tell you what.
It's a fun time. It's a fun time for sure. Just in the amount of things that you get to learn just every day.
It is.
It's magic almost. Jeff, and this is our last show of the year, but do you have any shows that you recommend that we're not going to that maybe are happening this year, or they're not very many?
Not really. I mean, all the big shows are pretty much done when it comes to this point. I mean, my recommendation for shows is always both fun shows, both A&A shows, Whitman show, and then, you know, I always do the World Fair of Money in Berlin. And honestly, you know, you get Berlin and Fun Show almost 2 weeks away from each other. And then you get the winter A&A in March. So realistically, I don't think we have a day off in January. But for the next November, December, I actually don't even know if there's any major shows in December, to be honest with you.
I don't think so. There's
got a couple auctions I'm looking up. But how about you,
Portland
Alex?
in November is a big show for like the Pacific Northwest area. And then at the same time, I think it's the second week of November, or excuse me, the third week of November is Honolulu, so the Hawaii show. That's a pretty good show for anybody on the island. They only do it once a year, but it is pretty popular. I have two dealers that I know from Washington that go out there every year for it. It's supposed to be great. But yeah, we'll be in Portland.
Yeah, that sounds like a great time, actually.
I want to go to one.
Yeah, I think you should, Jeff. It's supposed to be a great show. I know Zach is the one that does that, so
It's just so far away.
yeah, I could definitely understand that.
That's like
Very
14 to
far, very
16
far.
hours for us.
Yeah, no thanks.
Let's take a look at this abomination.
Lord.
After the greatest coin design dropped by the United States Mint in the last 30 years, these are our contestants for the new $100 Liberty coin. Some of these are okay, but like
You know, the Pegasus and Hercules.
Right away, I don't think that a U.S. coin should look
No, I
cartoony.
agree.
I think that's a no-brainer. It shouldn't look cartoony, and like most of the profiles of Liberty that they've shown are, I mean, I get it's line art, but I can't see how that doesn't look kind of silly struck onto a gold coin.
It looks a lot. The one at the bottom that you showed looks very psychedelic, in my opinion. It looks like I'm going to a Katy Perry concert or something.
Which one? This one?
Yeah, that one. And I do love the pirate ship one. for sure.
That's kind of cool. It's
They're,
see, but like, what does that have to do with
they're
America
getting to
or liberty?
Britannia to me, to be honest with you. It looks like they're getting very close to the Britannia when they're doing the Liberty like that.
Sure. Now the reverses, I think some of these are kind of fire. I like this quite a bit. I like that quite a bit. Weirdly enough, I do like that. It's kind of cool. And this one,
They're
like
very
that's just
Mexican like.
something. It's a, it's very I don't know. It's very it's different than what we've seen before. It's kind of more artistic, but like that would probably look cool. This one maybe would look cool. Like the Eagles, I think are fine, but like let's go look at what the other. Oh, I don't have pictures of the other designs. Crap. But like last year was a sunflower.
Yeah, that was
Why are
beautiful.
we going back? Why are we going back?
And
to
the year
a
before that
personification
was
of liberty
the
at this
flowing
point?
hair, and then it was the bucking bronco.
Right, or they did the Tree of Life as well, I believe, the Tree of Liberty, which I actually had a hard time finding any information about that. It seems like
Yeah, they're
it's kind of
pushing for
buried.
some new designs. I mean,
Um,
I definitely like the wildlife type material. It's very readable, but
sure.
they're kind of, following what's already been done. I would love to see them break through and kind of start the trend of, something new. But I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, do something colored. Put the
Yeah.
American
Yeah,
flag on there. Start picking buildings
yeah,
or
for sure.
something, you know? Like
Yeah,
do
or maybe
something that
like
has
why don't
like
we have
what do any of those coins have to do with America? Like when I look at any of those coins, I don't immediately go, God bless the United States. America.
right. I think this would be a Native American woman, maybe. So that would maybe make sense, but
No,
like it's not very clear. It doesn't say this is liberty to me. It
maybe
says
Yeah.
the first one up to the left
there's a bald
had
woman on the coin, which
steel.
is fine, but like
They should do the $10 Indian. I think that is something they should try to bring back. That would be badass to see on a 1 ounce gold coin.
sure, or just go back to that kind of style. Like I feel like we've gone so
Yeah.
realistic with everything. It used to be very stylized. The eagle didn't look like a real eagle. It's like an emblem of an eagle, like outstretched, and its legs are like grabbing arrows and stuff. It's like, where's that? There's no symbolism left. We're just putting a picture of a
Well,
thing on a coin.
We
you know?
idolize people,
Yeah,
and I
that's pretty
understand
crazy.
putting people on the coin and giving them recognition. So I totally understand that. But I agree. It doesn't scream
Um,
America a lot of the times, and in the new designs, hinting like some of the superhero material. But it's definitely popular.
I wanted to give a little bit of info about the American Liberty series because I didn't know these things before looking into it yesterday. So it's not a yearly release. They release a new coin once per year, once every other year. The first year they did a gold American Liberty, it was a 1 ounce in 2015. There was a mintage limit of 50,000. I don't believe they sold all of them. It may have, but that market released for $1,490. Then they skipped a year. In 2017, they upped the mintage, I guess, because it was much more popular. So the mintage limit was 100,000. And then only 38,000 of them actually ended up selling. That market released for 1,640. The next year, they did a 1 year 10th ounce Liberty, which had a mintage of 135,000 and market released for $565. In 2019, again, we're skipping 2 years for the 1 ounce. This is where we get into the coins that are selling right now on eBay for a higher rate than what they were released at. The 2019 market released at 1950. It is now selling an MS70 for 4,400. Now, obviously, it's an ounce of gold, so that's going to affect it. But it gets a little more interesting when we get to 2021, where the mintage dropped for the first time below 50,000 to 12,500. Those coins are now selling for $9,000 an MS70 for the 2021. I believe that's the Bronco. I couldn't find what the market release price for that coin was. The 2023 was the Tree of Life. That one's less popular, but that still is selling for a premium in 70 at 6,800.
Yeah, all these coins would have sold right around like 15% over gold for the most part. So
Right. So the last one that released that we told everybody to buy, the Sunflower, market release for $4,265, which was kind of wild at the time. Gold was only at like 3,600 or something like that when the coin came out. They had a mintage of only 1,200, and already it's following the same trend as the last three releases, where MS70s are selling on eBay right now for $5,550. So, this is my warning. No matter how dumb these coins look, it's still worth looking at. These will come out in 2027. You're getting the notice right now. I just laid out all of the numbers for you for the past 6 releases. Every coin they've ever done is now selling for significantly more.
Win-win.
Than it was. It's a win-win. I'm warning you now. This is the warning for the Liberty Gold. Jeff, I assume you've been in the business for every single one of these releases, no?
yeah, I can't stress it enough. I mean, this is my home plate here. I mean, Mint State 69 versions of the Sunflower right now are selling on eBay for $5,500. So it really is remarkable. Even the raw ones in original box and papers are like $5,200. I made a joke about it the other day with you, Isaac, when I was saying I think it's the first time in history that the U.S. Mint has ever released a gold coin. And by the time you got the gold coin, it was worth more in melt value than the premium in which you paid for it because the market has been so crazy. But market aside, you could have got the bucking Bronco for like, I think it was like $2,600. It was something really, really minuscule. No one thought about it. No one really looked at them. And then those coins again, $9,000 to $10,000. The flowing hair right off the bat. I mean, even the silver flowing hair goes for a record-breaking amount of money. But what a lot of the people didn't realize is with the flowing hairs, they actually put a privy mark on those, which was like a scroll. And if you got one of the privy marks with a scroll, that coin is worth like 10 times that value. Like, you got a gold coin with a scroll. I haven't looked at them in a while, but those were like 15, 20 grand at one point. So, I mean, it's almost like, ripping Pokemon cards and getting a holographic. Like the U.S. Mint did really, really, really well with making a small portion of those coins randomly won by random people all over the United States that purchased them, which was really crazy. So not only could you have gotten a coin that was worth 3 or 4 times the value normally, but if you got the specialty one, it was worth 6 to 10 times the value, which was, truly incredible. So, I mean, when it comes to these U.S. Mint releases, they really do hold a really high premium value, as we've seen throughout the years of them being released. And you really, I almost, don't want to say this out loud, but I don't want to gatekeep either. So again, this isn't investment advice. For the love of God, I'm just a nerdy coin dealer that likes looking at coins. But if you right, but if you see a coin being released the same date of a coin show, and the U.S. Mint is at the coin show releasing the coin and it is denominated, I haven't really seen one be released in the last 10 years or so that was immediately worth less or in the future worth less than what it was bought for. Almost every show, and if you're there, you can feel it, you can hear it. There's sages walking around, or pages walking around, passing out flyers from dealers going, if you get this coin, we'll buy it from you immediately. There's people like me that are sitting 10 feet outside the U.S. Mint's box getting yelled at by the police, telling us that we can't be buying and poaching coins. And I mean, you can tell when there's a line outside the U.S. Mint from people that showed up early on a Thursday to be at a coin show to buy coins. I think and not only that, like if you follow us, our content guys are always taking photos and videos and posting this stuff. If you follow Alex, he's at probably more shows than we are all around. You really get a vibe for this. But when it comes to the winter fun, and then the summer A&A. Those are the two biggest shows. Those are the two shows that the U.S. Mint aligns with the most. That's when you usually see a lot of these coins getting released. They kind of do it in tandem with the shows and with all of this. And I mean, it's just it's an all around money grab for whoever's aware. It's really that simple. I mean,
Sure.
Yeah, Baltimore's been a good show for release. I remember they did the 2019 enhanced Eagle, the one that had huge value. I sat in a line for 2 dang hours for that thing, but I got one. I got one, and
Yeah.
I mean, I know those were going thousands of
Nice.
dollars more. So, especially at time of release.
Aren't they releasing a coin this year too? Isn't the Marine Privy getting released from the U.S. Mint from the
Well, it's the
Baltimore show?
closest show to Washington D.C. So I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah, I'm looking up the product schedule now.
Yeah, let
But
us know on that. Alex, I wanted to ask, do you have very much experience with the Liberty Gold coins? It sounds like
I've
you've
bought a few of
purchased
them in the
the
past, and when I buy that stuff, it is definitely I want to take advantage of that short window. At least for my sense of being a business owner, is usually in that first month period, honestly. But there is great opportunity in the
Sure.
longevity of holding those as well. I mean, just a 2019 example for me was probably one of my very first ones that I really was paying attention to, and then bought it and was able to turn a really good profit on it in a quick fashion. But I mean, just going back on something recently with you guys in Oklahoma City, on just the buzz there, I mean, obviously we were buying, I don't even know how many it was bought between us three. It felt like hundreds, but I mean, it was insane, and people coming to us asking recommendations on it. I mean, so that was more my experience. I have customers now still reaching out to me for the sunflowers. So, I mean, I think I'm on the same side as you guys, is trying to bring some of those the customers those products. But I mean, my experience is limited, but still have
Right.
dabbled in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
so I
It's
will say
interesting.
I did just look this up, and it looks like 3 coins are getting released in the next 2 weeks. You have November 6th, which is the limited edition silver proof set. And I'll come back to that in a second. November 10th, which is the Monday after the Baltimore show, which is the Marine Corps coin, which for the love of God, right? I've been screaming privy from the top of the buildings since like 6 months ago. Don't miss out on these. They're already selling an FDI 70s for like $400, and you can get it for $100. So please keep an eye out. And then you have the start of Wonder Woman on November 13th. But what's really important that I'd like to bring up, I don't know if it's going to be released at the Baltimore show, so I'll keep you informed as we're there. But the limited edition silver proof set is November 6th, which is Thursday, of the Baltimore show. And why that's important is because the U.S. Mint released a statement saying that they are no longer making any more San Francisco proof coins. So I bring this to your attention because the limited edition silver proof set is a silver proof set where every coin is minted proof from San Francisco. And what's important is all of the other coins normally don't get minted in proof and normally don't get minted in silver. And what's crazy about this set, because it does have about 2.5 ounces, 2.473 ounces of 999 silver, because the quarters, the $half, and the dime. But what's crazy about this is that if what the U.S. Mint said stands true, these silver coins were not minted for the limited edition set. They were minted in tandem with the San Francisco coins, which the U.S. Mint held a small portion of them aside to be able to fulfill these collections, which I believe is right around 25,000 coins. So if you happened to have missed out on buying the San Francisco coin that did sell out, which was the last San Francisco proof coin ever struck, please keep in mind that there is one hiding in this set, which is pretty cool. And you do get 5 quarters, a dime, and a $half that are actual proof silver as well. Now, I need to look into this. I don't have any evidence that they're not going to make those silver coins anymore. I do believe it was the American Silver Eagle program won't be making proof silver coins out of there. So I don't know about the quarters and the $half, but I can't see them making a limited edition silver proof set next year and not having a 1 ounce coin in it. So maybe they make it from West Point next year. I don't know. So does that mean that those 5 quarters, the dime, and the $half are also going to be the last year of issue with a low mintage of 25,000 of each of those? I don't know, but that could be something spectacular. So do keep in mind, you do have a second shot at that San Francisco last year of issue, as well as something else that if you do your own research and turns out to be good,
Definitely.
could be quite lucrative.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Alex as well. You bought a lot of
Yeah.
the laser
Oh
privys
yeah.
at the Oklahoma show. What?
Yeah,
You sent them off to
I
get graded,
think
right?
we ended up getting like 15 pieces. I had customers that wanted some raw because they loved their eclectic, just keep it raw material. That was like 5 units.
Yeah, we sent out like
Yeah.
38 of them, and straight up like seven
Yeah.
were
We
MS70
were
or
below
Proof 70.
50%.
The rest are like they've got like milk spots on them, and
Yeah. I'm hearing from the higher ups it's around 60% total for like massive monster box deals that are just unopened, which is literally unheard of. And then if you look at all the NGC and PTGS reports, you'll also see that this is the lowest certified privy coin out of all of them, period.
to some auction news. The L.E. Bruun Collection, which is a Scandinavian collection of so many coins. This will be the largest catalog of a single collection by the time it's done being put on NGC. Right now, there's over 4,100 coins from the L.E. Bruun Collection that are registered and all cataloged on the NGC website, and they are actively pushing more through. Just as a little explainer as to what the L.E. Bruun Collection is, in 1923, there was a man by the name of Lars Emil Bruun. He was a Danish entrepreneur who was a butter mogul, and he built a massive collection of Scandinavian coins, and after his death, he had it signed into his will that for a certain period, if the Norwegian government numismatic collection was lost or stolen due to any wars. He saw what happened during World War I, so he was obviously like, stuff just gets bombed and blown up all the time. Let's have some extra coins. We're now in 2024, and the family is now ready to release the coins to sale. I believe there's been a few sales already. Seems Stacksbauer started in September of 2024. Where a Denmark 1496 noble made about $1.3 million. And that's just one of the coins. Just one of the coins. Jeff, why do you love the nobles so much? What do you like about them?
It's simple. They have a ship on them. They're really cool. No, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say I'm an expert on nobles by far, but they do happen to pop up in the world auctions a lot. They're very much like Escudo-likes. They have the cross on them on one side. Usually they have a king and a ship on them. Very nautical-like, very cool looking, very big gold coins. They go all the way back to, I believe, like the 1100s all the way to the 1400s. So very early gold as well. So, anyone that buys Escudos and shipwreck stuff usually loves anything with a nautical description or display on them as well.
Yeah. I don't know that this specific one had the ship on it. It looks like it had like a seal on it. I don't know that Denmark was that big of a naval nation in 1496 at the time. Honestly, I don't think anybody was. Maybe the Dutch had some sort of ships going on.
I'm bidding on some Great Britain nobles right now and heritage auction. I think the Britain one were the big on having the nautical and maritime look on their coins back in the early 1200s.
Yeah, I like the old stuff like this. This is like my favorite period of history. It's just something I've been studying up on a whole bunch. Is like the basically 1460 to 1812. There's like just massive global expansion all across the world, and so many different countries popping up and fighting each other, and wars and kings. It's like a weird post-medieval time period that I feel like doesn't get a lot of light, mainly because we don't know that much about it. But I like this stuff a lot. Alex, do you keep up with the big auctions at all?
Yeah, not a ton on this material, but it's definitely fascinating to me. I love the history behind it, and I mean, the expansion of Europe, and I mean, it's pretty neat stuff. I don't collect a lot of it. I definitely have some friends that collect some of the more Norwegian material. And I know his fascination is more Viking-esque, and that's, especially this material in the age of it. So, I mean, it's great stuff. I just haven't had a ton of experience being on the western side of the United States. We don't get a ton of this, European material.
Right. Something I love about this is that this is sort of the epitome of what it is to be a coin collector.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I mean, come
you
on, look
spend
at it.
your life studying, learning, putting these things together, keeping them safe. Like, this guy was literally managing a collection of thousands of different pieces and had each one labeled, knew each one by name, probably had some sort of value on it, probably remembered what he paid for them. And now his family name, is forever enshrined as one of the hallmark Swedish history artifact collections. Like, if you're a historian and you study Norwegian history, one of the very big artifacts that you're using to study Norwegian history is coins.
Yeah, definitely.
Ellie Bruun almost single-handedly has done all of the work for historians in this niche. Like, it's incredible. And on the top side, like, his family is now making millions off of the collection years later. Millions.
I mean,
It's
it's obviously worthy of that, the time and effort and all the time, the preserving the coins. I mean, it's reflective on how special some of these pieces are.
And I will say that like the world market was almost completely non-existent a decade ago. So to think that these coins have been putting up in collections even longer than that is pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
So when you really look back at it, I try to tell people this all of the time. If you can imagine that the United States has existed for 2,000 years, and every state was their own country, and every time a king was murdered by their cousin to make a new king. I mean, you guys have seen Game of Thrones, right? Like, every
Right.
time King Joffrey got murdered, right? They made a new coin with a new face on it and melted everything
Yeah.
else down. So, I mean, if
Right,
you can
with different art.
imagine, there's so many one-off pieces for one-off time periods of history where a lot of these coins are the only ones that exist. It's the only representation of that artifact for that time. I mean,
Yeah.
you're literally talking over 600 years ago. That Denmark made a coin for that king at that period. So you can only imagine during that 100 years they probably had a dozen kings, maybe even more. So their coins would have changed over and over and over. It's not like the United States where we made Washington quarters for like 30 years, right? Like, I mean, they were, it'd be like if the United States were every state, we had 50 states, making different coins, literally sometimes 3 a year, making, so it really is incredible when you start getting into the historical note taking of European coins, because, a lot of these coin collections, like that's it. And just to touch on something you said earlier, Isaac, all the time that, he spent and having his name and his family name out there forever, almost all of the books that I've learned and mastered my trade on were made by collectors that collected that one type of coin. And look at it, like if you look at the BG book, that's, don't kill me, but Walter Breen and Ronald Gillio, I think, those are the two most notarized people when it comes to collecting California fractionals. They spent years cataloging everything, and now that's what NGC and PCGS uses as the catalog numbers to certify coins. So on every California fractional, you'll see BG and then a number, which is the classification from the book that they created, that NGC and PCGS uses to classify and grade the coins. And that's pretty much, from paper money to, all across the board. The Kraus book for world Spanish coins, they're all made by just collectors that, like, hey, I've read everything there is on this. There's nothing that exists. Let me try to grab photos from auctions and piece everything together and kind of go from there. So, it really is crazy to see the layer and layer of numismatists, categorizing, cataloging, all the info before the internet existed. So it was a overwhelming effort put together by all the numismatists to try to catalog all this stuff so people can get an idea of what actually exists out there.
Yeah. The more I learn about this, and the more little threads keep connecting, I realize that this isn't just like a collectible hobby. People definitely are just collecting coins for fun or whatever, but this is an active archaeological, like, scientific movement. Like,
Oh,
just as if you had discovered a disease, they
yeah.
named the disease after the guy who studied it. If you study a specific kind of coin, like, you are that coin guy, and like,
Yeah.
people start to use your studies based on, you know, to further their knowledge. Alex, what do you think about that?
No, I think you're right on the money. I mean, you get an expert in their field. I mean, obviously, like the Bruun collection is, and I mean, I can only imagine some of the survival rates of some of these. I'm sure there's one of ones in this material as well. Especially off of the evolution of those countries and how often they were striking and melting down to strike the new
Right.
one.
I actually just pulled it up from the Stacks auction, and it actually says that between 1496 and 1532, for all the kings, Hans, Christian II, and Ferdinand, only 20 coins remain, and most of them are in the National Museum of Denmark.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, amazing.
And like, the National Museum of Denmark isn't studying that coin. They just have it. Like, in order for there to be information about this coin, you either have to go there or be Ellie Bruun over the last 40 years, or buy this coin. Like, that's wild. And like, the fact that we're able to buy that, obviously I can't buy this, but $1.3 million. But the fact that somebody is able to purchase that, and like, I don't know, I feel like there's no other space where the highest level of study is this accessible, I guess. Like,
It's like a statement of time with a coin. It's no doubt exciting, like crazy.
Yeah, especially when you're looking at something like this. It's one of the earliest Danish coins ever to be known. There's only 2 in the world, and the only other one known is in the National Museum of Denmark. So the only other one to be owned is that one right there.
I thought there was 20. Which one were you looking at before?
No. So technically speaking, of the nobles, there's only 20 noble coins that exist from Denmark along that 40-year period across 3 kings. There's only 20 known.
Wow.
Yeah, 1496 would be the oldest of all of the Denmark coins. And of this exact coin, there's only 2 that have survived history. And the only other one is in the National Museum of Denmark at the heritage site in St. Petersburg. So this is the unique in private hands. It's the only one known. So that's what I was saying. Like, a lot of these coins, like, that's it.
That's all there is. Yeah, that's nuts. This is the first 2 months in history where every other coin is being minted for circulation, but pennies have not been.
I mean, I've had an increase of customers asking for common pennies, so
everybody knows the deal by now. Pennies cost more in material to make than their face value of the coin. I feel like we could just make it out of something else, but they've decided to just completely suspend the operation. But I went and put together a couple of, dug through some rabbit holes a little bit. And it seems as if the total amount of currency in circulation does continue to go up. Now, once this, now that we're not doing pennies anymore, that may change. But from 2019 to 2024, there's about a $300 million increase in the amount of circulating face value coinage. Over the last 2 months, the last month was about $120 million were put into circulation. This month is about $230 million. So we are still increasing the amount of money that's coming out of the U.S. Mint, despite the downturn from the pennies. What I find interesting about this is it turns out that the U.S. Mint just goes based off of what they think the demand for the coins are. So it doesn't really have anything to do with how much material they have. They're not slated out for a certain amount. This is just what they think the amount of coins we need is. I also was wondering, it kind of begged the question, like, are people even using cash anymore? How many people are interacting with these items on a daily basis. In a 2025 Federal Reserve study, it did find that 83% of U.S. citizens use cash within the last 30 days. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're using more cash. It just means that they are using it. On average, they spend about $253 in cash per month, which is significantly lower than it was 2 to 3 years ago. The majority of payments do happen on credit card and debit card at about $2,200 per person per month. Jeff, why are you saying for shame?
No, shame. You never use cash unless you get a discount. I got to get my points, baby. Got to get your American Express points. If you're not getting your points and you're not getting a discount and you're still using cash, that's just foolish. And your debit card, you need to rip those bad boys up. That's your money. Use other people's money or discounted money or no money.
It's definitely, I think, evolved off of the area you're in. Like, I'm in a little bit more working kind of town where cash is still relevant and barter is still happening. When you're in a fast-paced moving city, it seems like it's not happening as much, and it's like simplistic to just use your card. So for me, I mean, cash is obviously very relevant in my business. So
sure, the data was showing that like cash is used exceedingly on small transactions, so stuff that's under $20.
Yeah.
Anything over $20, people usually tap their card.
It just doesn't make sense.
Increasingly having less things that are worth $20. But what's up, Jeff?
As an intelligent consumer, right? My advice to you is always use a credit card anywhere and everywhere you humanly possibly can, unless you get a bigger discount to use cash. If you get a 5% or more discount, use cash. If you don't, right, use your credit card and you get those points. Because no matter how little your budget is, over time your points will accumulate and you will be able to use them for fun stuff. Right? If you use cash and you get no discounts, you get no fun stuff. If you use debit card with no discount, you get no fun stuff. Debit cards, completely useless. Cash, mostly useless because you get no benefits. Right? I understand if you get a 5% discount or you're looking to barter on something, then sure. If I'm going to my neighbor, I doubt I'm going to be able to give them my credit card. So cash is obviously useful there. But other than that, if you're using cash still to buy gas, to buy a Kit Kat at the gas station or something, in my opinion, that's silly, right? You get those points, you add those points up at the end of the year, you get those benefits no matter what they may be, and go from there. Cash is
there we go.
It's silly.
Now, I will say I do like cash, just as a formal budgeting method. If you struggle with impulse spending, it's useful to have physical cash in hand so you can see how much money you actually have. I sort of do both in that regard, but I think that's a good enough place as any to wrap things up. I really do appreciate every single one of you watching. Yeah. I see you. I see the regulars. There's a couple of you. Thank you. It means the world. We put a lot of effort into this, and it's really awesome that people are actually enjoying it, and I hope we continue making it better and better.
Yeah, and if anyone has any comments of stuff they're looking for, questions or stuff that they want us to go over or they'd like us to go into, please leave a comment below or something. We'd love to see what you guys are looking to hear, and we'd love to bring it up.
Any closing remarks from Alex? Anywhere the people can find you? You want to plug the shop?
Oh, yeah. Cowlitz Coin and Jewelry, Longview, Washington. Find us on Whatnot at Cowlitz Coins or TikTok at CoinHub21 or Instagram or Facebook, Cowlitz Coins. I love these guys over here at Premier Rare Coin. I can't wait to see you guys in Baltimore. If anybody is in the Baltimore area, please come and see us. We're going to have a booth. It's going to be an epic time full of great deals and slanging precious metal, baby. It's going to be great.
Yes, sir.
And real quick, Alex, what days do you go live? Is it a scheduled show or is it just randomly?
Yep, no, we're live Tuesday through Friday, 11 a.m. to about 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then Whatnot Monday through Friday, about noon to about 4 to 5.
Which one, if I may ask, which one is your best app for you? Do you have a preference?
I love them both. I love all my customers. I like the communities. I like the community on TikTok, in my opinion. We've built friendships that are going to last forever on there. I'm not saying that's not on Whatnot. It really is a great community as well. But I mean, I think I think coin collecting and stacking and all this stuff is so easy to our fingertips, and we're all learning it, you know, kind of evolving in it. Uh, I mean, I love them both. Truly, I mean, it's been a blessing and a lot of work all in one. So
That's how it goes.
yes,
Well, thanks,
indeed.
Alex, for coming on, filling in for our two sickly guests today. If you did enjoy this episode, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Comment below all of the things that you bought this week. Everything you bought this week, put it in the comments. Even if it's not coins. If you bought bread, put it in the comments. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Alex. We'll see you guys next week.